My name is Kevin Johnson. I'm the head athletic trainer for the Philadelphia 76ers. In the unlikely event that an athlete sprains his ankle, I want to show you what we would basically do when we use the form R.I.C.E, which is rest, ice, compression, and elevation. So after the patient or athlete has been evaluated by the team physician and or myself, then we will get x-rays, and then we'll start what we call the R.I.C.E treatment. So again, we're going to rest the athlete. We're going to make an ice bag. We'll use a standard elastic wrap for compression, and now we'll show you how we'll elevate the athlete's ankle. So if you could just slide down there, scoot back just a little bit. You always want to make sure that when you use the formula R.I.C.E that the ankle is above the heart, so we'll ask Jesse to lie back, please. We'll take the ice bag, apply it directly on the skin. So now we have the ice, we've got the compression, and also the elevation. Generally we want to leave the ice on for 15 minutes every hour, so if we ice at 10 o'clock, we will take the ice off at 10:15. Some of the other things that we use to aid in the athlete's comfort is a walking boot, which gives him compression and support, and also the use of crutches. As you can see, these are a little tall, almost taller than I am. And that's it for the rest, ice, compression, and elevation. One of the things that I do for the team is tape ankles to prevent ankle sprains. Here is basically what we call the basic ankle tape job, or the closed basket weave. First we start off with a heel and lace pad, one in the front, one in the back. This is now what's called pre-wrap or under wrap, which prevents the tape from sticking to the athlete's skin or hair. If you can see, Jesse Wright, our strength coach, is a little bit on the hairy side. So now we'll do a couple of anchors. The top. The next strip will be called our stirrups. And we're always pulling from the inside to the outside. And for the Sixers, we tape all the athletes. Every player is either taped or wears a brace before an actual game and or practice. We will do, we'll take both ankles, but for the demonstration here, we'll only do just Jesse's one ankle. Comfort along with the right technique is very, very important. It's supposed to be snug enough to give adequate support, but not tight enough as to stop circulation. So as I finish up or complete the ankle tape job, one of the things I always like to tell the athletes is, and they always joke me about it, I always say, have a great game.